Hi everyone, welcome to Thursday's Chill Pill. Sláinte, Ruth.
Sláinte, wee cup of tea.
Hope you're all having a great day. Hey, we're going to talk about an interesting passage in a minute, but before we do that, let's talk a little bit about our families growing up. You had two brothers, Billy, you still do, Billy and David.
Two brothers. One is 6 years older than I am, and one is 8 years older. Hi guys, if you're watching, love you.
I don't think they're watchers, but
You never know. You never know.
What do you remember growing up about your two brothers?
Well, I always remember that having two brothers was, somewhat great, and then somewhat of a challenge too, because I was the only girl, and so especially with my next brother up, David. He was a bit of a guy, always getting out, doing things, and having fun. So I kind of always thought, like, I want to go with him. He looks like he's having fun. But it was all guy stuff, and out in Congo, it was all things like with slingshots and all this kind of stuff. And I had to learn how to do that stuff if I wanted to keep up with him. So I was busy trying to keep in with his boy friends, the gang, not a gang, like a group that he would hang out with, that I never did many girl things growing up, to be honest. Our older brother, Billy, he was always the sensible one in keeping David and me in check, and I think he still kind of tries to do that. Good job, Billy. You're doing a good job.
Yeah, you're just hopeful here that they're watching, right?
Yeah. But Billy, raised the standard for all of us. He was a good student, and he accomplished a lot in his life, and I think David and I are just very proud to have Billy as our oldest brother.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, I didn't. I always remember thinking it would be nice to have a sister. It'd be nice to just talk to someone who kind of knew what it was like to be me. But no, two brothers did it. So and then they had friends. So I always say to people, if I come across like a little weird or whatever, it's because I was raised by boys, basically.
You're not weird, Ruth.
I was raised by boys, not girls.
Well, growing up, our family was really close. We did a lot of stuff together. Weekends, my parents took us out a lot to family functions. Our whole family got together a lot with our cousins. Did some horse riding with them. Mostly just playing, though, with our cousins. It was so much fun. And then we always did a lot of adventurous things. We went climbing a lot, and most weekends we went away to do different things. Then we had family vacations every year, went to different places. So we got lots of good memories. So we did a lot, but we got up to a lot of mischief too. Yeah.
And your cousin Jane, was always in charge, right?
Yeah, our cousin Jane was always like
in charge of you all.
Yeah. She threatened us with different things in a nice way if she's watching. But yeah, we had a lot of fun. Growing up years were good, and it's so important, your family, of course, when we moved over here, you miss all that.
Yeah.
It's a wonderful thing to be here, but there's a downside to it, and all the people you know and love, you can't stay connected as well.
Well, we didn't hang out with our cousins a lot because we were in Congo.
But your life was different as a missionary kid too, because you were always basically working. You did services all the time.
Yeah, and then when we came home to Ireland, we were always around with services and churches and singing and my parents speaking and stuff. But my mum would still have all family gatherings at our house.
Yeah, and your mum was a great baker and the entertainment for the night, your mum.
Yeah, she was a good laugh. So when we were home in Ireland and did have everybody up, it was a house full, and it was a lot of fun.
Yeah. All right, so I'm going to read some verses. This is from 1 Kings chapter 19, and it says, "The word of the Lord came to him, 'What are you doing here, Elijah?' He replied, 'I've been very zealous for the Lord Almighty, but the Israelites have rejected your covenant, broken down your altars, and put your prophets to death with the sword. I am the only one left, and now they are trying to kill me too.' Then the Lord said, 'Go out and stand on the mountain in the presence of the Lord, for the Lord is about to pass by.'" So he's waiting for God to pass by him.
Right.
Then it says, "There was a great and powerful wind, and the mountains tore apart and shattered. The rocks came down, but the Lord was not in the wind. And the wind, after the wind there was an earthquake, but the Lord was not in the earthquake. After the earthquake came a fire, but the Lord was not in the fire. And after the fire came a gentle whisper. When Elijah heard it, he pulled his cloak over his face and went and stood at the mountain of the cave. Then a voice said to him, "What are you doing here, Elijah?" So the gentle whisper wasn't the fire, wasn't the earthquake, wasn't the big thing that he thought it was, but God was gently talking to him.
I think we can misunderstand strength a lot of times. Like we think, oh, it's God, he's almighty, so therefore that means he's loud, he's, the big crushing things, that's where God is. Because we think that's what power is, the big things, like the strong things and all. And I feel like what that's telling us is, hang on a second, that's not the meaning of strength. The meaning of strength is to come alongside you and to talk quietly to you and help you understand something. Then you can make a change. Then you can do something.
And when people face difficult choices, a lot of times people are looking for a sign, a big sign, but how about listening to the voice that's talking in your ear? Some people, of course, call that just intuition or whatever they want to call it, but there's a part where the Holy Spirit can just whisper into your heart and into your mind and give you some insights into what you should do. And sometimes people go against that. It's like they know what they should do, they have a conviction about it, but they don't do it because they want to please someone else.
Right.
They want to fall in line with the crowd. They don't want to go against the grain. They don't want to ruffle feathers. And so they know what they should do, but they don't do it because they're afraid of other people or what people might think or what they might say or how they might view them. So a lot of times we don't do what we're supposed to do, not because we can't hear it, but because we're denying it.
Right.
We're like saying, oh no, that can't, I'm not going to listen to that voice because I don't want people to think that I'm crazy or think that I don't care about them or their opinions.
Right. I want to be accepted by the people around me. But another aspect of that too is a lot of times, and I know this from even my own life experience, we can think like, where is God? Why is God not doing something? Why is he not speaking? I don't hear him. Why is he not telling me? And we get panicked and we get like feeling alone and frustrated. And actually, just a little bit like what you just read, it's like because we're looking in the wrong places, we're listening to the wrong things, but also our life can be just too busy. We can be frantically doing things, thinking that we're fixing things, do, or distracted by things. I've got to do that, and then something else. And all that busyness in our head, we don't have a space where God can just quietly speak into our minds and spirits and say, that's the way to go. We used to call it quiet time. Do you remember that term?
We still call it that, but it's
But we grew up saying, have your quiet time every morning before you start your day. Quiet time, meaning before all the busyness starts, spend a time with God.
I think that comes from verses like, be still and know that I am God. And things like that, but it's an important lesson.
It can be a discipline, actually.
Well, it is. It's a spiritual, definitely a spiritual discipline to be able to do that, because a lot of people just like noise and activity because sometimes they just want to drown out other things that they don't want to think about. And when you have a quiet time, you're forced to think about things that you'd rather not deal with. But it's important to have those times where God can talk to you. And how God's going to talk to you is not going to be the same way he talks to me.
Right.
And what might be right for you might not be right for me. So we're all different, and God talks to us as individuals.
That's true.
Anyway, it's good talking to you today. Look forward to seeing you all at the weekend, and if we don't, because you're online, we're waving to you and saying hi. Good to see you. Pip, pip.
Cheerio.
Cheerio.